We can check whether two lines are parallel or not by checking the angles formed by their transversal. The conditions which are to be checked are called tests for parallel lines, interior angles test. Theorem: if two lines are intersected by a transversal and the interior angles are supplementary, the lines are parallel to each other. Given, line T intersects line PQ at point M and line RS at point N. Measure angle QMN plus measure angle MNS is equal to 180 degree. To prove, line PQ is parallel to line RS. Proof: let us prove it by indirect method. Assume that the statement line PQ parallel to line RS is false. Therefore, line PQ is not parallel to line RS. Let line PQ and line RS intersect at point L. Triangle LMN is formed as shown in the figure. Now, in triangle LMN, measure angle LMN plus measure angle MNL plus measure angle MLN is equal to 180 degree, sum of the angles of a triangle. Measure angle LMN plus measure angle MNL is equal to 180 degree. This is given. Also, point L lies between point M and point Q, and point L lies between point N and point S. That means the sum of only two angles of triangle LMN is 180 degree. But the sum of three angles of triangle is 180 degree. Therefore, measure angle MLN is equal to 0 degree. Therefore, we can conclude that line ML and line NL, that is, line PQ and line RS, are not different lines. But we have given that lines PQ and RS are two separate lines. This is a contradiction. Therefore, our assumption is wrong. Therefore, line PQ is parallel to line RS. If two lines are intersected by a transversal and the interior angles on the same side of the transversal are supplementary, that is, their sum is 180 degree, then the lines are parallel to each other. This is called interior angles test of parallel lines. Now, let's study the alternate angles test for parallel lines. Alternate angles test. Theorem: if a pair of alternate angles formed by a transversal of two lines is congruent, then the two lines are parallel. Given, line T is the transversal of lines M and N. The alternate angles, angle P and angle R, are congruent. To prove, line M is parallel to line N. Proof: measure angle P plus measure angle Q is equal to 180 degree, angles in a linear pair. Angle P is congruent to angle R. This is given. Therefore, measure angle R plus measure angle Q is equal to 180 degree. Angle Q and angle R are interior angles on the same side of the transversal. Therefore, line M is parallel to line N. Interior angles test. This property is known as alternate angles test of parallel lines. Corresponding angles test. Theorem: if a pair of corresponding angles formed by a transversal of two lines is congruent, then the two lines are parallel. Given, line T is the transversal of line P and line Q. Angle X, angle Z is a pair of corresponding angles, and angle X is congruent to angle Z. To prove, line P is parallel to line Q. Proof: measure angle X plus measure angle Y is equal to 180 degree, angles in linear pair. Angle X is congruent to angle Z, this is given. Therefore, measure angle Z plus measure angle Y is equal to 180 degree. Angle Z and angle Y are interior angles on the same side of the transversal. Therefore, line P is parallel to line Q, interior angles test. This property is called the corresponding angles test for parallel lines. Now that we have studied the tests for parallel lines, let's solve a few problems based on them. Observe the diagram and prove that line AB is parallel to line CD. Solution: measure angle PRB plus measure angle BRS is equal to 180 degree, angles in a linear pair. 110 degree plus measure angle BRS is equal to 180 degree. Therefore, measure angle BRS is equal to 180 degree minus 110 degree is equal to 70 degree. Therefore, measure angle BRS is equal to 70 degree. Statement 1. Measure angle RSD plus measure angle DSQ is equal to 180 degree, angles in a linear pair. Measure angle RSD plus 70 degree is equal to 180 degree. Therefore, measure angle RSD is equal to 180 degree minus 70 degree. Therefore, measure angle RSD is equal to 110 degree. Statement 2. Measure angle BRS plus measure angle RSD is equal to 70 degree plus 110 degree from statements 1 and 2. Therefore, measure angle BRS plus measure angle RSD is equal to 180 degree. Statement 3. Angle BRS and angle RSD are interior angles on the same side of the transversal. Therefore, line AB is parallel to line CD by interior angles test for parallel lines. Next example. In the adjoining figure, line L is parallel to line M and line M is parallel to line N. Line T is the transversal. Prove that line L is parallel to line N. Solution: line L is parallel to line M. This is given. Angle A is congruent to angle B, corresponding angles. Statement 1. Line M is parallel to line N. This is given. Angle B is congruent to angle C, corresponding angles. Statement 2. Therefore, angle A is congruent to angle C. This is from statement 1 and 2. This will be the statement 3. Angle A and angle C are corresponding angles. Therefore, line L is parallel to line N. Corresponding angles test for parallel lines. In the given figure, line PS is the transversal of line AB and CD. Measure angle AQP is equal to measure angle DRS is equal to 55 degree. Prove that line AB is parallel to line CD. Solution: measure angle AQP is equal to 55 degree. This is given. Measure angle BQR is equal to measure angle AQP, vertically opposite angles. Therefore, measure angle BQR is equal to 55 degree. Statement 1. Measure angle DRS is equal to 55 degree. Statement 2. This is given. Therefore, measure angle BQR is equal to measure angle DRS. This is from statement 1 and 2. Therefore, angle BQR congruent to angle DRS. Angle BQR and angle DRS are corresponding angles. Therefore, line AB is parallel to line CD by corresponding angles test for parallel lines. What did we learn? Interior angles test for parallel lines. If the interior angles formed by a transversal of two distinct lines are supplementary, then the two lines are parallel. Alternate angles test for parallel lines. If a pair of alternate angles formed by a transversal of two lines is congruent, then the two lines are parallel. Corresponding angles test for parallel lines. If a pair of corresponding angles formed by a transversal of two lines is congruent, then the two lines are parallel. Exercise. Observe the figure. In the given figure, segment PR is congruent to segment SR. Segment QR is congruent segment TR. From the information given in the figure, prove that segment PQ is parallel to segment ST. If line L is perpendicular to line N and line M is perpendicular to line N, then prove that line L is parallel to line M